Hello, friends. Welcome to Block Bytes. It's time for our weekly crypto news recap. Let's start with the first news. Mixin Network lost around 200 million US dollars in a hack. Now, Mixin Network is like a layer two, and it provides scalability to the users. However, it uses a centralized database that is housed in the Google data center. And it was this centralized database that actually got hacked. And this became a big news in the world of cryptocurrencies because, as you all know, we are all about decentralization and openness. However, this news actually came about, and as you can see from the comments, it is all about how the crypto space is viewing this. Now, here is a tweet from here's a post from Alo. Pretty much sums up the emotion in the space as far as this news is concerned. Now, this again brings up another interesting perspective to the news around Layer Zero that we discussed the week before, and with Layer Zero collaborating with Google Cloud to provide the Oracle services for their network. Now, this particular news and the impact that Google has had with this news doesn't really go down well in the ecosystem. And I'm sure there will be people looking forward and seeing how projects like Layer Zero and even Polygon, who recently came out and said that some of their validators are on Google Cloud. But that, I think, is true with any protocol. Validator is not that big a deal because it's very decentralized and distributed. But when a very critical component is centralized, like in the case of Mixin Network, it is the database, and in case of Layer Zero, it is the Oracle network, then things become a little problematic. So we'll watch and see what happens with Layer Zero. Hopefully, everything works out fine for them. There are no issues or no hacks in the future for the project, but it's certainly a trouble event and a development in the space. All right, moving on. Good news for Indian crypto investors and traders. Gemini, which is a big US based crypto exchange, is going to invest 22 million US dollars in its India office. So they surprisingly already have 70 plus people working in Gurgaon, which is like an IT hub of sorts after Bangalore and Hyderabad. And this is good news for the people. So the only thing that needs to be seen is how the on and off ramp with the UPI and banks will work, because most of the Indian exchanges are having a tough time dealing with the Indian banks because they have not allowed any on ramps to the crypto exchanges. So it will be interesting to see how Gemini overcomes this particular bottleneck. But overall, good news. The more options there are for traders and investors in India, the better it is for them and for the entire ecosystem. All right, moving on. Okay, this is an interesting little article that I wanted to share because it is the season of ETFs, right? Everybody within the crypto universe is talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs. So I wanted to show this particular article, and primarily from the perspective of this tweet or this post from James, who works for Bloomberg Intelligence. Now here you can see the list of all the Bitcoins ETFs that are in queue, waiting for the Fed's approval. Now the next deadline is marked in the green box is the mid of October, and everybody is waiting patiently to see what the Fed is going to do. The people are split into two camps. One is saying that they might approve it, Others are saying they will kick the can down the road further. And just like they did with ARC 21, they were supposed to do it, but then they moved it ahead in November now. So we'll wait and watch what happens. But I wanted to show this tweet so that everybody has an idea of what could potentially be a trigger for the bull run for Bitcoin if any one of this is actually approved. So, yeah, that was the whole idea of this particular news item. So let's move ahead. From good news to bad news, a crypto scam worth rupees 550 crores happened in the state of Himachal Pradesh in India. And this one is particularly nefarious and toxic because one of the local ministers has claimed that this is happening with the under the aegis of the existing government or some of the people working within the government. So this is a big allegation. And here it is. Said that the case of cryptocurrency fraud has come from the entire state. Yes, and such a big crypto scam to happen without any political protection is impossible, according to him. So although it seems like an allegation, but he may have a point here. So what has happened is a committee has been formed, which will perform an investigation, investigation into this particular incident and come out with its report. The bottom line is, people, unfortunately in India, this is why the Fed and the government has such a hawkish point of view towards the crypto ecosystem because there are these huge scams everywhere in the country, right? And I wouldn't be surprised that there is foreign hands and people actually sitting out of the country pulling the strings on some of these scams. So it is very important that the investigation is done deeply and thoroughly, and whatever comes out of it is going to be good for the space because this is like the FTX scam, right? It blew up and it caused a lot of ripples in the system, but it's good that it came out instead of staying wherever it was and festering into an even bigger bubble. So a good and a bad news in a way. Bad news, obviously, for retail traders and investors who have lost a lot of money. Once again, people, please be very, keep yourself safe, and do not get pulled in by any influencer or any narrative that you read in the news or on social media, especially. Okay, let's move on to the next news. Back to good news. Ethereum surpasses $10 billion in revenue in just 7 years. All right, what does that mean? This is what it means. Now, this particular chart is very interesting. If you can see that the number of years is plotted at the bottom, and you have revenue here on the y-axis, and you can see the big companies. A lot of big names here, and they have taken a long time to actually reach the $10 billion revenue mark. Ethereum, on the other hand, has done it quite quickly compared to most of these companies. The only other company that comes close is Meta or Alphabet, which is the Google parent company. So this again proves the point that Ethereum is like the leader in the crypto space. And it is growing and chugging along on full steam ahead, and only good will come out of it. I don't see any black swan events on the horizon. The protocol is nice and robust and decentralized. The Ethereum ETFs are also around the corner. We'll look at that in another news item in a bit. But only good news is what I see coming out of the Ethereum ecosystem going forward. So I link this art. All of these articles are linked in the description. So please go ahead and take a look at it and read have a read through. Moving on. Okay, NFTs are 94% worthless and also up over 52,000%. Now, if this is not what you call volatility, then I don't see any other example out there which can which means volatility as much as NFTs are. So that is a very interesting headline. Forecast has published this article, and according to them, 95% of the NFTs are worthless at the moment, right? Just like cryptocurrencies, 95 or even 99% of the cryptocurrencies are actually worthless. So it shouldn't be surprising. And it actually goes on and says that, know who already knew this? Everyone's still following NFTs. And to some extent, I will take this forward and say crypto, because people who are following crypto know about the entire space and which tokens are worth it and which ones are not. So it's not surprising from that part, but for NFTs, again, it is news, because if you're following the NFT space, then you probably know about this. But for those who are not really following NFT space, this may come as a surprise, right? Okay. So they have a index, a forecast 500 NFT index, which is down 94%, right? That is huge. The NFT space has not been doing well. So obviously, the NFT as a technology obviously is the biggest technology, I would say. NFTs is part of the whole tokenization of assets ecosystem, right? So if you look at from a technology perspective and a potential use case perspective, then NFTs is huge, right? So NFTs don't just mean cyber punks or JPEGs or any of that sort, but it could mean any asset that has value. So although this is down right now because there is hardly any volume and it's a very niche space, so there is a lot of speculation in it. But as NFTs start to become more and more streamlined, thanks to the whole tokenization and narrative, the amount of speculation and volatility is going to go down, and it will become more and more mainstream. So bullish for NFTs, but if you're in this space, then you will have to work much harder to basically make money in it. So moving on. Bitcoin recognized as a digital currency in Shanghai. Okay, now that is a very interesting title, but it doesn't really exactly mean what it says. So for that, you'll have to read the article. Right, so let's go through it. A recent Shanghai People's Court announcement in China acknowledged Bitcoin as a unique digital currency despite the country's official ban on cryptocurrencies. Now, for those who don't know, China has banned cryptocurrency trading. They banned it like 2 years, at least 2 years back, if not more. So you cannot trade or buy cryptocurrencies. But this particular judgment is for those who already have cryptocurrencies as an asset with them, right? So how do you classify? What do you do with that cryptocurrency that you've already bought and kept? So from that perspective, the court has said that it recognizes Bitcoin as a distinct currency, right? It is essential to note that the recent article does not represent an official policy shift. So this does not mean that the government will now switch gears and allow cryptocurrency trading and investment in the country. But it is just a very limited observation made by a court in China that for those who already have Bitcoin, it will be treated as a digital currency, nothing more than that. Right, so it is it's in a very specific legal boundary, nothing beyond it. Interesting news, but nothing much to discuss here. So let's move ahead. Okay, this is interesting. Econometrics came out with this tweet on 26th of September, and basically what it says is, are the Bitcoin miners a good buy? Right. So we all know that, Bitcoin obviously as an asset is something that you can buy and keep, but you also have proxies to that asset in the form of miners. So you can buy mining shares of the Bitcoin mining companies. Yeah, you can buy ETFs, which once they come, once they are approved, you can still buy futures ETFs. Spot ETFs obviously is not approved at the moment. And then you can buy MicroStrategy, which is like a indirect way of purchasing Bitcoin, right? Or a proxy, as I said. So this particular article says that if you want, is this a good buy? If you're an investor and you're looking to buy Bitcoin mining companies, then should you do that? So what they're saying is that yes, you should do it. Why? That they've given 3 reasons. First of all, it is highly correlated to Bitcoin, making them another way of exposure. This is exactly what I said, that it is a proxy to Bitcoin. So if you don't want to buy Bitcoin, if you are uncomfortable, or if you don't have a lot of money, whatever the reason may be, you can rather buy a proxy and get an indirect exposure to Bitcoin. Second, delivering multiple times the return of BTC over the same period. Now, this is the biggest interest. Now, who would have ever imagined, right? Now, you buy Bitcoin, and for the same period, you have a proxy of that asset, which is giving you multiples more return than the actual asset. This point is the reason why I wanted to share this particular post with you in this news. And of course, we all know it is likely to attract a lot of institutional money in the next bull run, as we saw in the previous news. A lot of Bitcoin ETFs are in the pipeline, and it is just a matter of time that they get approved, and we'll see a massive bull run. You can see, look at this. There is hardly any negatives here. You see the -10 here, and then you have some negatives over here, but it's hardly negative. You don't see any stock or any other asset class giving you such huge numbers of returns. So Bitcoin miners is a very interesting play, right? Based on just this information, I would say that Bitcoin miners is a very interesting new asset class that everybody should start thinking about, right? So, and that is the whole purpose of this news. I want you all to start thinking about interesting things. Moving ahead. Okay, Jamie quotes our favorite Bloomberg researcher, came out with another banging post thread. This is about why Bitcoin is such a unique asset in the eyes of everybody these days, right? Why is everybody running after ETFs and futures and spot? And why is there so much limelight on it, so much focus on it from these traditional finance companies and bigwigs? So here is the reason. Now, he gives a bunch of different graphs here. So I'll go down. You can go through this, and it's very interesting, but I'll point out the crux, the main reason why everybody is so interested in it, and it is this one. First of all, if you look at the risk-adjusted returns over multiple cycles for this asset, that is Bitcoin, this is the only asset that is it's the highest in that list. So if you take all the commodities, if you take gold, you take all the stocks, any other asset class, Bitcoin is the only asset class that has provided the most returns, and this is risk-adjusted returns, meaning for less risk, you're getting more returns in these different cycles for 1 year, 2 year, and 3 year. Now, just by looking at this, who will not be interested in getting a piece of this pie, right? But this is not it. Here's the second biggest reason. And if allocators want to outpace monetary debasement means that the value of the US dollar is getting down every year. We know that is called inflation. The value of the the US dollar goes down and any other currency goes down. That is called monetary debasement. So if you want to have investments that outperform this monetary debasement, which is what everybody's goal should be, then again, Bitcoin is the only asset that has provided the most returns with respect to the money supply, meaning that it has been the most effective against monetary debasement. Look at this, a massive 8,600 times it has returned, right? And what he suggests that just replacing 1% of your portfolio with Bitcoin will result in massive returns for any hedge fund or investment company, right? So no wonder that everybody is running after Bitcoin, and it is only a matter of time that there's just so much pressure, and the last straw is what everybody is waiting for, and once it blows, and then there is no stopping Bitcoin, right? All right, moving ahead. Another great news, Near protocol. We don't really talk about Near so much, but Near protocol was in the news as it entered into a multi-year contract with the International Cricket Council. And the idea here is that they will create a web engagement app based on the Near blockchain operating system platform, right? So it is an app for engagement. So you can they will have different activities, different milestones that you have to reach, and you will be rewarded in return. It could be merchandise, free goodies, tickets, whatever, right? So I think this is a big news which a lot of people are not talking about, because first of all, it is Near, it's not Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin. And second, it is the ICC, it is cricket. Not anybody in the West is interested in cricket, but everybody in the East, it's huge. The ICC is huge, right? If it's one of the biggest gaming events in the world, if not, it must be in the top 5, right? So I think this is a big news for Near Foundation. It will be interesting to see how this is certainly bring a lot of activity to the blockchain, no doubt, right? So a very positive news for Near, and also a big boost to the Web3 adoption story, right? So whether it be Near, Cosmos, Solana, Ethereum, these are all public blockchains, and any adoption story at the end is going to help the entire ecosystem, and that is something to be recognized and appreciated. Final news of the day. Again, we have James from Bloomberg, and this time it is the ETFs, the Ethereum ETFs. These are all the Ethereum ETFs lined up for next week, I believe. Yes, next week, Monday. So look at this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ETFs are in the pipeline, and these are we'll have to see what happens. These are futures ETFs, not spot, so something to keep in mind. Which means most probably these will be approved, and it will become a bullish signal for Ethereum, right? Now, how much it will go up is something that is beyond my understanding or my expertise, but it is certainly going to be a good news if these are approved in the coming weeks, right? In the coming week, rather. So we'll see. I don't know if these all will be approved, but we'll find out very soon. So overall, we looked at the Bitcoin ETFs, and we now have Ethereum futures ETFs, right? So as I said before, a lot of pressure has been built up, a lot of institutional focus. It is just a matter of time that it all blows up. and the floodgates are open, and it'll lead to the next bull run. There's no stopping that. Right. Very exciting time to be in the crypto space, and I wish you all the luck, and stay safe out there. And I'll see you next week with another weekly recap.